Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, really, for your kindness and patience in waiting for our resource person today. It is all because of the technical fault, as you always know. And on behalf of the core team, Mental Health Webinar Series, and the organizer, Department of Psychology, the American College Madurai, and associating partners, Madras School of Social Work, Chennai, MS Chellamuthu Institute of Rehabilitation and Mental Health, Madurai, Red Pond Educational and Psychological Research Center, Madurai, Psycho-Oncological Association, Turkey. We welcome you all to today's session with our resource person, Ms. Mohana Priya. She is currently working as a clinical psychologist at the Christian Medical College and Hospital, and she has been a psychology tutor at ACS Medical College and Hospital. She has been a psychologist at Mindzone, and she has been a training psychologist at Serene Life Hospital. She is the alumni of Women's Christian College, Chennai. She has done her master's in applied psychology, counseling, and psychotherapy. She is skilled in communication, leadership, therapeutic approaches, and interpersonal relationship. Dancing, music, and crafts are her hobbies. Very happy to have you here, Ms. Mohana Priya. Now the session is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm really sorry, ma'am. I just mentioned that just one mistake about my designation. I'm a psychologist in CMC, ma'am, actually, in the Department of Neonatology. Yeah. Okay. So now let's move on to our session today. Uh, uh, can you see my presentation?
Not yet, Priya.
Just now, ma'am.
Yeah, now we can see. Now we can see.
Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the psychosocial support for NICU parents. Before moving on to the psychosocial aspects in NICU, I just want you to know more about the Department of Neonatology. And I think many of us wouldn't be aware of what is Department of Neonatology, what is the role of psychologist in the Department of Neonatology, because even I don't have any idea of the role of psychologist in Department of Neonatology until I joined there. So let's move on to the introduction to neonatology. So neonatology is like a branch of medicine which is concerned with the care, development, and disease of newborn infants, which is clearly stated that it treats the department treats with newborn infants who needs treatment for specific medical complications. For example, NICU is nothing but a neonatal intensive care unit, which is also called as nursery because the intensity of hearing a baby admitted in NICU will be more to the parents. That's why we call it as a nursery, so that the intensity will be less. The psychosocial intensity will be less for the parents, and it is like it mostly admit. Treats like premature newborn infants. So prematurity is nothing but babies who are born before the 40 weeks of gestational age. So basically, after before any babies who are born before the week 37 weeks of gestational, may call it as premature baby or preterm infants. And neonatal is nothing but refers to the first 28 days of life. And neonatal care, as known as specialized in nurseries and intensive care, which has been around since the 1960s. So it is specifically developed to treat the preterm infants. it has lots of it uses lots of technologies to help the babies survive in the intensive care unit, and it also creates an outer uterus. It's like the baby might feel that it is an artificial uterus for the babies actually. So babies who are born preterm will may feel that they are still in uterus, and they get all the um, necessary nutritions and necessary uh, atmosphere will in NICU. And NICU always concentrate on treating very small, premature, and congenitally ill babies. So besides prematurity, even the extreme low birth weight and common diseases like perinatal asphyxia. Asphyxia is nothing but a deprivation of oxygen to the newborn infant, which may lead to any physical harm or mostly brain harm. So and also major birth defects, which is for example, Down syndrome or any genetic syndromes and genetic conditions, and cleft palate, and other birth defects can also be treated in the NICU. And infant respiratory distress syndrome is nothing but a breathing disorder, which is most probably due to the immature of lungs, because during the third trimester only the baby's organs will get matured. But since the babies are being out before the term, they will be having lots of immature organs. That's why they are developing lots of problems, which also affects their developmental um, stages. So an infant may spend a day or observation in a NICU, or may spend many months there. People who are get to stay longer in the NICU will eventually experience a lot of stress in their lives. So preterm is also defined as a babies. As I've said before, it's like being born alive before the 37 weeks of pregnancy. And in WHO, they have been characterized into three stages. Like, for example, first one is extremely preterm, which a baby is born less than 28 weeks. And second category is very preterm, which is born between 28 to 32 weeks of gestation. And third one is moderate to late preterm, which is between 32 to 37 weeks of gestation. Um, and I'll tell you what are the complications of premature birth. Because as a psychologist, it's important for us to know what are the complications of preterm infants, and how it affects their everyday life, even their parents and the life of babies. So, because surviving the illness is a big challenge for the preterm infants. After surviving the serious illness, and living with the disease is another challenge for the babies as well as for the families. And in the long term, the premature birth may lead to the following complications such as cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is mostly uh, developed due to brain hemorrhage, and also which always leads to impaired in learning. Sometimes babies born prematurely may have impaired learning, and they may also experience behavior and psychological problems later in their lives. And with the serious medical complications, they may have chronic health problems throughout their life. So what? So we have now learned what are the complications that are associated with the preterm, and how it affects. Because in NICU, it is not easy for a baby to survive in the NICU, because it's a because the atmosphere will be very stressful for the babies, because since it's a preterm infant, they'll be very sensitive to the environment. So the lightning, the sound, and the painful procedure they are going through, and the ventilators they are in, which eventually distress the child. and also the babies are away from the mother. Mother is not allowed to see their babies often, so they have to be there only for an hour, for certain hours in a day, so they can't be with the child throughout the day. So that will be a great that will have a great impact on both babies and as well as the parents. The parents usually have an image during the pregnancy. Everybody does, right? Everybody has their planning for pregnancy. Everybody has their own expectations, because the prematurity is not a planned one. It's an unexpected one. So which eventually affects the uh, parents expectations. So that's why they have a great fear, and they also may feel helpless, and they may also feel hopeless, and they'll be in very shock. How did that happen? How did my baby born prematurely? What went wrong? Mostly the mothers will experience lots of guilt and fear. What did I do wrong, and what made the child to born prematurely? Did I eat something wrong, or did I do something wrong? So they have lots of guilt in themselves, and which eventually stress them. So everybody knows that uh, after pregnancy, most of the mothers will go through postpartum depression, and it will be more temporary. But in mothers with the preterm infants, they will have long term. They might have long term postpartum depression, because they have lots of things to accept, and things to adapt to it. So, and because of the informations they couldn't digest, because the mothers will be very depressed, and the father couldn't handle both the mother and the baby. So as it says, the shows many researchers shows that postnatal depression will be higher in parents who has preterm infants, which the rates are up to 40 percentage of mothers soon after birth. So even everybody thinks that the mother will be very depressed, and mother cannot handle those emotions. But meanwhile, fathers also become depressed, and they may also experience lots of anxiety and depression, because they couldn't handle both mother and child. They may have no idea about who to support and who to comfort, and they have to be like struggle with lots of aspects like financial problems, answering to the extended family members in a collectivistic society like in India. The mother will get judged by their society and as well as by their family members. So whatever it is. So when we counsel the mothers also, they will be like telling lots of uh, comments and opinions about the mother from the extended family members. And you are the reason that the baby is born prematurely. You did not do that right. You made a mistake. That's why the baby is suffering now. And these are the statements that affects the mothers a lot. And mothers will be already they will be in a depressed state, and they don't know what to do in their do to help their babies to get better, and these statements will affect them a lot, and which will eventually uh, might develop they might develop PTSD also, post traumatic stress disorder. So uh, they also have, due to this lots of stress, and they don't know how to handle those stress, and how they don't know how to handle their family and their financial status and their um, baby's health, and they'll be very exhausted, and they don't know they will eventually become overprotective, and they'll be having a long term effects on their mental health. So the research also found that the mothers of babies who have born very preterm are more likely to experience a significant mental health problems when the child becomes 2 to 7 between 2 to 7 years of age. And paying attention to mental health in parents is not only important for parents but also for their child's well-being, because the parents because whatever the thoughts that the parents possess which eventually influence the parenting styles, because since the child has suffered a lot in NICU, most parents probably become an overprotective parents, and they will not let the child to be normal. They'll be very overprotective. They may not allow the child to socialize, or they will be like having the thought what might happen when my child goes out alone. So they'll be very protective, and they'll be very intrusive sometimes, which eventually affects the child's mental health also. So that may also lead to the behavioral issues in uh, children. Sometimes the parents will be very permissive parents, which will they will allow the child to be child to have everything. They will allow the child to get everything what they want, and they do what they want, because the parents are very concerned, and they are very they're filled with guilt. So I can't I have to give everything to my child because he is not well, he or she is not well, so I have to give everything to my child, which will eventually spoil the child's behavior, and may develop into lots of behavioral issues. And sometimes the research also found that the babies who have been admitted in the NICU, um, which eventually developed lots of psychological problems like anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, paranoid, schizophrenia, personality disorders in later in their life, because of the environmental issues, and also because of the neurological problems that they may have experienced uh, in the new NICU. And psychosocial support. So what kind of support that we can give as a psychologist to the parents during the NICU stay? Because the stay in NICU will be shorter for some people and will be longer for other people. It depends on the child's health conditions and medical conditions. So the during the NICU stay, the parents need supports from everybody, like from staff, the psychological help, and from the medical professionals. They constantly seek help from uh, everybody. Some people, they may not seek help at all. They'll be withdrawn. They'll be conserved in their own thoughts. They'll be observed in their own thoughts, and they'll be withdrawn to all the procedures and all. So during that time, as a psychologist, we have to take an initiative towards planning a treatment for the parents too. So first we have to move on like family centered care. Family centered care is nothing but including the family members in the uh, treatment process. We have to make sure that the family sits, whatever it is. If the parents are in nuclear family or in a joint family, we may ask the immediate persons in the family to sit in a family counseling, and we can explain what the baby is going through and what are the causes and the complications and the risk factors that the baby may develop in later in their life. So we as a psychologist, we have to help the parents that it's not that because they'll be filled with very guilt. We have to help them to how to get overcome from their guilt, because it is not their fault that the baby is born prematurely. Sometimes it is caused by genetics. We have to explain that. And all the medical treatment procedures, we have to psychoeducate the parents, because the parents should be they have the rights to know what is happening to their child, because without their knowledge we are giving so many treatments to the child that parents will get confused, their parents will get irritated, sometimes they'll get frustrated, they'll be like I don't know what I'm doing in my baby's life, I'm not a part of it at all. So the Staffs in the department will always include the parents in every treatment the baby is going through. They'll be informing what are the treatments that they are going to give, and what the treatment, the pros and cons of those treatment and the medications. And the we have a follow a thing called Gangaru Care, which helps mother to connect with the babies. So the mother will be holding the baby in their chest, which will eventually, it is scientifically proven that the temperature, body temperature of the mother and will connect the baby, and they will have the strong bonding. So the mother can always give a positive vibe to the babies. So we will ask the parents to be more positive. We will be asking them to talk to the baby every day. The baby will respond. So we have to make sure that the parents aware of what are the in what ways they can also be an help, because they feel helpless, and they feel they are not part of any process. So in order to avoid those things, we have to make sure that the parents are doing something for their child. They are doing something for their baby. So like during the feeding times, they can be they we can ask them to talk positive things, because most of the pregnant women talk to their babies, right? To give a lots of positive vibe, and to make sure that baby is hearing all those things. And that can also be done even in NICU also. So, and also the Gangaru care cannot only be, the mother can only be the person that can give Gangaru care, but also the fathers can do. So in our country, it's like a stereotype, like only mothers are very bonded with the babies. No, it's not like that. The research has proven that fathers can also give Gangaru care, and in abroad and all, they follow this protocol. Both the mother and father will give Gangaru care for their babies. And second one is staff education. Staff education is really important when we are giving support to parents, because um, most of the time the staff will be staff, especially the nurse, will be the one who are communicating with the mothers more than a doctor or psychologist. And we have to make sure that staff is skilled enough to communicate effectively with the mother, because the mother is clearly dependent on the staff, because they are the ones taking care of their babies for longer period. And they are the ones, they are sometimes they are not allowed to feed also. So in the during this pandemic COVID times, we didn't allow the COVID positive mothers to communicate with the baby. So nurses are the ones, they are giving feeding to the they are the ones ma'am, this is echoing.
Uh, yeah, Priya, we hear some echoing now. Maybe you have connected with two devices. Somebody has unmuted. Let me check.
No ma'am, I'm not connected to any other devices other than my laptop.
Is it all right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. One of the participants have unmuted, so we heard echo. I have just muted them. No problem.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Shall I continue?
Please do, please.
Okay. So, so they are the ones who are taking care of the babies with for a longer period of time. They will be feeding the babies through Pala Day feed, and so the mothers will be very eager to talk with nurses. But even the nurses are will be sometimes they will be very exhausted in taking care of so many babies. It happens as a medical professional. Everybody uh, at one point of time may experience burnout, compassion fatigue, and all. But still, as a psychologist, we have to give a training program to the staff so that they can be a better help to the parents. They can be very polite and in explaining whatever the progress the baby is making with to the mothers or the parents. And they can also be a very helpful and have a positive impact on mothers who are already depressed, because sometimes the mothers will be very clingy and to know what happens to their babies, because it's their concern, because it's their baby, right? So it happens, but still we should get the patient. We should have the patience enough to provide those information, or we should may sometimes be assertive enough to uh, help the parents not to be very clingy. And third one is peer group support. Peer group support, it's nothing but it's a group therapy which includes the other parents whose babies also be born preterm infants or the term infants who have medical complications. So they may talk to each other and share their problems with each other so that they may get some comfort. It helps them to get a relief, and they might sometimes the mothers might think only my baby is suffering a lot. So when they talk to their peer group support, during the peer group support, it helps them that to realize that so many babies are experiencing the same thing, and it is okay. It is okay to have the guilt, but we should accept the reality and we should start moving on to the life which makes a better life for the babies. So it will have a great positive impact on the parents. Final one is a group activity session. So here we do lots of activity session. We conduct lots of activity sessions for mothers, like an occupational therapist and a psychologist. Both occupational therapists and psychologists will have lots of craft work sessions, and the occupational therapist will teach them how to uh, knit a wool cap and all. So it's like it. So many mothers felt that they are doing something for their child. They are making something for their child. They are gift. Uh, they felt that they are being useful in some way to their babies. So these activity session actually improved a lot. Uh, the mothers showed a better improvement in their uh, postpartum depression, and they had a positive approach after that. So we usually conduct administer postpartum depression scale in the beginning of the admission period, and we administered all the intervention programs. So during the discharge, we will be mothers. Most mothers tend to have reduced effects in their depression, and also we will help the mothers to um, once we figured out the mothers is not getting well, and who might have the tendency to develop psychiatric problems, we may refer to a psychiatrist. So we have a protocol of all the standard procedures, and we will try our best to help the parents, because most of the time the mothers and the parents will be very dependent on psychologists, because they need reassurance. They'll talk to doctors, they talk to nurses, they talk to other medical professional also, and also they'll come to psychologists because they need reassurance. They want that uh, the baby will get better soon. But sometimes it is very hard to reveal all the hard information, but we have to be honest, because giving a false hope might affect the parents a lot. So that's why we have to be very careful in what way we are approaching the parents and in how we are delivering the uh, baby's condition to the parents. So and we have to have empathy, and we have to have all the skills that is needed to convey such a painful information to the parents. Sometimes the parents also needs grief and bereavement care, and in certain hospitals they follow palliative care and the bereavement care for NICU parents, so they may get grief counseling and how to cope with it, and how to make their life better, and and they have improved a lot because through this care and support system, people have been improved a lot compared to the parents who didn't get all this psychosocial support from the medical professionals. And so I'm just we are at the end of our session. So, as a psychologist, it is our responsibility to take care of the parents as well as the babies, and we have to be very careful in whatever information that we are delivering to the parents. It is we have to be very good at grief counseling, and the whatever the activities that we are giving, that should really have a impact on a positive impact on the parents. Uh, these are the references, and thank you. So, if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, Mohan Priya, for your precise and informative talk. Personally, I loved it so much, and I think there are a good number of learnings that we can take from this session. And now, this is a point for discussion. The participants who are interested to ask your questions can kindly unmute your mic or put your questions in the chat box. We can take it forward. Thank you. Any questions? This is Chandra here. I have a question.
Yes.
From your presentation, it is clearly understood that the NICU parents, both the father and the mother, undergo a great pain if the child is born preterm.
Yes, ma'am.
But is there a particular duration that will consume for them to recover, or how long will it take for them to come out of that pain, even if the child has grown better? What would be that point of healing?
So you are asking me how long they will take to overcome these things.
Yeah.
So it, huh?
Yes,
uh,
that is the question. That is the question.
so it depends upon the child's complications, ma'am. So sometimes the even the term infants also have lots of medical complications. For example, we have met lots of mothers. Babies and who suffered from genetic various genetic conditions. So genetic conditions we cannot do anything about it, and they have to adapt to it. So actually, it will take. Sometimes they will accept the reality, and they will start looking for the possibilities for the betterment of their babies, like seeking an occupational therapist, and coming to a regular follow-up sessions, and taking appointments from different professionals so that that may help their babies. And some people who didn't accept the reality may be like searching for a possibility to make sure they believe that that nothing will happen to their child. So it depends on each person, and on their acceptance level towards the reality, and also the baby's complications. Some maybe will have mortality rates like shorter periods, and some may survive the disease and may still have the complications in developmental stages.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have got another question. Recently, I have seen in our family and also in the friend circle, the newborn babies are found with hepatitis, meaning the eyes and the body is a little bit yellow. And the hospital says that the baby has to be put in the incubation for a while so that they can recover before getting discharged. Even if it's a normally delivered baby or C-section, it doesn't matter. The treatment is the same. I have
Yeah.
listened to a lot of support the parents should take from outside. As a psychologist, what would be your prime tip for the parents, to have to accept it? You understand my question?
Um,
What
wha-
should we feel in the first place? If, for example, if our own baby is diagnosed for something, it might be simple, like most of the babies are found with hepatitis when they are newly born. But even then, as a mother or as a parent, they feel really bad for the baby. Okay. We don't know how simple or how complicated it is. But when it is newly born, we don't want to hear the baby suffering something. So, what would you suggest for the mothers, to take it positive and feel better about the situation?
Hepatitis is apparently it's like we cannot say that it is very complicated one, and it's a simple thing. Sometimes they will give phototherapy and have a shorter NICU stay and they will get discharged. But it is as they said, it's a very shocking news for the parents. So as a psychologist, we may have a session with the parents and may get what is their we can help them to rationalize their thoughts. We can help them to accept and what are the possibilities. We may help them to see the reality, the possibilities to cause that caused hepatitis for the babies, and we can also help them to look at the positive and brighter side that the child may get. And we can also give them a reassurance, um, like what are the sufficient things that they need to take, sufficient steps they need to take to help their baby recover from what the baby has been diagnosed.
Thank you. In connection to this, I have a suggestion and I would like to hear your opinion on this. Since when the baby is born, the first thing the doctors or the nurse team says is it is a common thing that's happening in the recent days for most of the babies, so nothing to worry. Would it be better if we can educate the parents before the delivery that these are the common trends that are happening with the babies, nothing to panic, everything will be taken care of? Will it be better instead of attacking the situation after it happens?
Actually, sometimes the doctor may detect the defects in antenatal period itself. So, in that case, they will be educating the parents beforehand itself that these are the complications that a baby is going to have after the delivery. Sometimes it is really shocking, like hepatitis and all. Sometimes after birth, only the child may develop the hepatitis. So it's like an unknowing thing for the doctor itself. That's why they are telling informing them after the birth. So I have seen doctors who have told all the risk factors beforehand itself. During the antenatal period itself, they'll be suggesting these are the complications that you are going to have during the delivery and the baby's risk factors. But sometimes the hepatitis is like an unpredictable thing that happens after the delivery. So in that case, I think we have to accept the reality, but it will be very shocking to the parents. But we can only empathize with them and help them go through it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your wonderful answer. And we have a question in the chat box. New age medical help, not to bath a newborn, a premature, or NICU stay baby. No bath or massage. But indigenous old methods of massage. How to reconcile the both for parents? What is your advice to parents in such situations?
New age medical help not to bath a newborn, premature or an ICU stay baby. I think it's more of a, medical thing, and nurse can answer it better because I have no idea about baby's bath and all. I just know about the complications and medical terms and the basic terms actually. So I think maybe I can ask someone and I can like let you know.
I think this question is highly debatable only because different thoughts are there in this. But as you said, if you could help with an answer, we would post it in the group. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So I think with all the discussions done, having no questions from the participants, you have made it so clear. And this is our gratitude for you for having been. Sorry, uh, do you want to say something, Shabnam? We don't hear you, Shabnam. Only we hear a lot of beeps, beep noises or something. Okay. So I think there is a connection problem. So we honor you with our heartfelt thanks for this wonderful session this evening, Ms. Mona Priya. On behalf of our core team and the organizers and the associating partners, thank you so much for being here this evening. And it was wonderful to listen to the thoughts on NICU parents. I think it is a very useful thing, and it has to be shared to many, many parents so that their pain or depression could be helped out. So I have, as I said earlier, I have got new learnings about where to get the support and what could be the support we can have in beforehand. So with all this knowledge, I think we should learn more about how to help really the newborn babies and the mothers. Thank you very much. And it was a wonderful session. Thank you, participants, for being here in this evening and having made this evening better. So see you all
Ma'am,
tomorrow in yet another session. Yeah, Mauna Priya?
ma'am, I would like to answer that question. So, Shabnam Bharadwaj, so she's asking how a psychologist you help parents not to meet feed baby. So I guess they are trying to ask me that both bath or massage. In our NICU, the nurses will give bath to the baby, and massage will be done by a proper occupational therapist. They will teach the both parents about the exercise that they have to do, which will help to relax the muscle tone and babies with the neurological problems. The massage will help the babies to uh, develop the flexibility in their muscle and uh, to cope with their developmental delays also. So many preterm babies will have developmental delays that massage will help them to overcome that. How was the psychologist? Touch. Yes, touch is very important. So even the occupational therapist, they will advise the parents to touch, and that's why we are giving kangaroo care to the babies. So touch is really important because through touch, the mother and the father both can connect to a baby and they can give the vibe to the baby. So they will have good bonding with the babies. That's why massage and bath is also very important. That can be done by nurses in the NICU, and they will teach the mothers also on how to give bath to the nurses. And massage will be done by occupational therapists. They'll teach the parents also to continuous in their follow-up sessions also. I think I have answered your question, I guess.
Yeah, she has thanked you for your answer. I hope you have done
Yes, ma'am.
it. So, as we have done our vote of thanks, thank you very much, Ms. Mohana Priya. Besides all the difficulties that you had, you did really, really a wonderful session today. Thank you very much. And thank you, participants. See you all tomorrow at another session, the same time. Bye.
Thank you.